The 1970s, bold patterns, warm colors, and a style all its own. Step into any home back then, and you'd spot the same familiar things, from chunky wooden furniture to gadgets in avocado green. They weren't just objects, they were part of everyday life. In this video, we're counting down 10 things you'd find in almost every home of the 70s. If this takes you back, hit subscribe, and let's open the front door to the past. In the 70s, the TV wasn't just an appliance, it was a piece of furniture, encased in polished wood, often with little legs or even cabinet doors. It blended into the living room like it belonged there. Some had built-in shelves or a space underneath for magazines and TV guides. The screen was small compared to the hefty frame, but nobody minded. It was the center of family life. You'd gather around for the evening news, Saturday variety shows, or the big Christmas special. Changing the channel meant getting up, walking over, and turning a chunky dial. When the TV was off, it didn't just sit there. It was part of the decor, matching the coffee table and sideboard. Today's sleek, wall-mounted screens might be bigger and sharper, but they'll never have the same warm, homely presence as a 70s wooden TV. In the 70s, the phone wasn't something you carried in your pocket. It was a solid, heavy device that lived in one spot, often on its own little table with a notepad and pen nearby. To make a call, you'd lift the receiver, listen for the steady dial tone, then spin the rotary dial one number at a time, letting it whir back before moving on. If you got a digit wrong, you started all over again. Cords kept you tethered, so private conversations meant stretching it as far as it would go, maybe into the hallway or behind a door. Numbers were memorized or written in a chunky address book, and long-distance calls were planned events, not casual chats. Today's kids can't imagine waiting for a dial to spin back, but in the 70s, that satisfying click, click, click was just part of everyday life, and calling someone felt important. In the 70s, furniture wasn't flat-packed or disposable. It was built to last, and much of it came in rich, dark wood tones. Sideboards, coffee tables, and display cabinets often had a glossy, polished finish that caught the light from the living room lamp. The wall unit was a particular favorite, a large, multi-section piece that combined shelves, cupboards, and sometimes even a built-in drinks cabinet. It held everything from family photos to treasured ornaments, often arranged just so. Dining tables were solid, heavy enough to last decades, and usually paired with matching chairs in brown or tan upholstery. Even the TV stand matched the rest of the set. Today's minimalist, lighter designs feel a world away from the sturdy, statement-making pieces of the 70s. Back then, dark wood wasn't just furniture, it was part of the home's personality. If there's one thing the 70s didn't shy away from, it was pattern. Carpets weren't subtle, they were statement pieces, often covered in swirling geometrics, bold florals, or earthy tones of orange, brown, and gold. Many homes went wall to wall, with the carpet stretching across the entire room, sometimes even up the stairs. It added warmth underfoot and tied together the living room's color scheme, which more often than not matched the curtains and cushions. Vacuuming those thick, patterned piles felt like a workout, but they hid spills, footprints, and the occasional pet mishap like magic. Today, most homes stick to neutral tones or wooden floors, but in the 70s, the carpet was part of the personality of the house, a canvas for color and creativity that welcomed you the moment you stepped inside. In the 70s, lighting wasn't just practical, it was part of the decor, and nothing said modern and stylish quite like a lava lamp. The slow, hypnotic blobs of colored wax drifting up and down in a warm glow could keep you staring for ages. Every teenager wanted one for their bedroom, and plenty of living rooms had them too. But lava lamps weren't alone. Pendant lights with textured glass shades, fringed lampshades on tall stands, and even stained glass Tiffany-style lamps brought color and drama to every corner. Lighting set the mood, cozy and golden in the evenings, casting patterns on walls and ceilings. It wasn't just about seeing, it was about atmosphere. Today, we have LED strips and minimalist fixtures, but in the 70s, a good lamp was as much a conversation piece as it was a light source. Step into a 70s kitchen, and you were greeted by color, bold, unapologetic color. Two shades ruled the era, deep avocado green and warm mustard yellow. Fridges, ovens, toasters, even kettles proudly wore these tones, matching or contrasting with laminate countertops and patterned tiles. Cabinets often had wood veneer finishes, and the color palette tied it all together into a warm, earthy look. It wasn't just about style, it was about personality. Your kitchen wasn't a sterile, all-white space. It was a place where color made cooking feel lively. Today, those shades are considered retro chic, but back then, they were simply the modern choice. Every appliance showroom was a sea of green and yellow, promising to bring your home right up to date. In the 70s, telling the time wasn't just functional, it was part of the decor. Almost every home had a large wall clock, often in bold designs that doubled as art. Some were classic, with Roman numerals and brass hands. Others embraced the decade's love of style. Starburst sun clocks with radiating metal spikes, chunky wooden frames, or brightly colored faces. The ticking was a constant background sound, and you always knew when it was time for the news or your favorite TV show. Clocks weren't tucked away or minimal. They claimed their place on the wall, usually in the kitchen or living room where everyone could see them. Today, with phones in every pocket, the wall clock is more decorative than necessary. But in the 70s, it was both a practical tool and a design statement you couldn't miss. In the 70s, music lived on shelves, row after row of vinyl LPs, each in a carefully designed sleeve. The record player, or turntable, was often the centerpiece of the living room, proudly displayed as part of a hi-fi setup. Listening to music was an experience. You'd slide a record out of its sleeve, place it gently on the platter, and set the needle down with care. The faint crackle before the song began was part of the charm. Albums were played in full, side A, then side B, and you'd read the liner notes while the music filled the room. Friends might gather just to listen to a new release, treating it like a small event. Today's instant streaming makes music effortless, but in the 70s, it was a ritual, one that made every song feel more special. In the 70s, many homes had a special display cabinet, often with glass doors, filled with crystal glasses, ornate bowls, and cut glass vases. These weren't for everyday use, they were for best, reserved for Christmas, weddings, or when important guests came round. Children were told not to touch, and dusting them was a careful, nerve-wracking job. Sunlight streaming through the window would catch the facets, scattering rainbows across the room. The set might include wine glasses, sherry glasses, and even a decanter, whether or not anyone actually drank from them. Owning crystal was a sign of pride and good taste, and it often stayed untouched for years. Today, open shelving and casual dining have replaced the formality, but in the 70s, that cabinet of sparkling glassware was a fixture in almost every living room. In the 70s, the coffee table wasn't complete without a neat stack of magazines and at least one hefty telephone directory. Magazines covered everything: home decor, fashion, recipes, TV gossip, and were flipped through during tea breaks or lazy Sunday afternoons. The phone book was just as essential, often sitting within arm's reach of the rotary phone. Need a number? You'd leaf through tiny print, scanning page after page until you found it. It was a shared resource, well thumbed and sometimes with notes scribbled in the margins. Guests would often browse whatever was on the table while waiting for the kettle to boil. The coffee table itself almost acted like a social hub, a place for conversation starters. Today, quick online searches and digital reading have made those stacks rare, but in the 70s, a well-stocked coffee table said your home was both welcoming and up to date.